This is John Michael Liles, and you're listening to Missin Curfew.
What's Missin Curfew? It's when you kind of play guilty, but you show up.
How nice is a green light on the road, though? No practice tomorrow, no plane, just go.
Scotty Upshaw in the clear, and he scores! Right in front, scores!
A few laughs, a little bit of fun, and obviously a lot of hockey talk.
You're listening to Missin Curfew.
What's up, lads?
Welcome back to Missin Curfew, Updog. Smooth skating, good style.
I wish I played with this guy.
Yeah, I know.
One of the
I
best.
missed him in Colorado. We would have been good deep pair, right? I was like,
could
Johnny, go.
Yeah, by the way,
We
you
got time. We got time.
By the way, I could never hit the guy either. I tried to chase him around sometimes. So he's shifty.
He was two steps ahead of you. He knew when you were coming.
No, well, maybe on the golf course. A little thinking ahead. He has a short game. That's why.
John Michael Liles. Johnny, thanks for joining us, buddy. We're a big fan of what you do for Altitude. Obviously, the way you played the game and just your all-around contribution to the league.
Demeanor.
Thanks, fellas. I'm happy to be here. Alfie, you definitely got me a couple of times for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely got me.
I know.
Yeah,
Maybe
when the puck was gone. Yeah, when Chuck's like, you hit me.
Hey, that's for making that birdie on me down the stretch there, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, you did say before we came on that you're going to play your last round of golf in the beautiful state of Colorado up in Vail, and I was like, I'll get you. I might have to pay for you to fly out here just to kick this guy's ass for me because I'm a human ATM machine to this guy. His handicap, Johnny, at one point was a 5, and I was like, as your business partner, I can't handle this.
He's lying. It's not a 5. We played the
I will
tips
take
one
you
day.
as a 5 any day of the week. I will take you on my team any day of the week as a 5.
Yeah, right? I know.
Well, it's at a 1 now. It's where it should be. But my back is all jammed up. I got this Phoenix Coyotes alumni tournament this weekend with Sheldon and Quincy.
Yeah.
And I got to get my back in order because I can't have Quincy carry the whole squad.
He's a good player.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
He's playing unbelievable right now, too. He is pounding the ball.
All right, John.
He's on.
Hey, Johnny, we played. We're already getting off script here, but that's what good players do. We read, react.
Yeah.
We played Cherry Hills. We went to Denver to see My Morning Jacket back-to-back nights, and Quince took us to Cherry Hills the week after the USAM. And Johnny, listen, I know I'm not a good golfer to begin with, but man, were we humbled. Like, you missed the fairway by a yard, missed the green by a foot. It was done.
I mean, Cherry Hills it's old school, and when they grow that rough out and they get those greens rolling, I mean, it can be nasty. I just remember the BMW was there, and Deletty was playing in it, and I think he was top 5, making a run late on Sunday, and man, just he missed one green left, and it was such deep rough. I don't know what he double bogeyed a hole and dropped out of contention, but I just remember how fast those greens were. And he was like, man, I'm nuking 3 with like 365 here, and I'm not even trying to go after it. Like, it's just amazing what those guys can do in those conditions, man. That course is special.
Is that number 17? Is that a go zone for you? Is that like we're going for that in 2 with a good drive? That little island green is beyond. It's sick.
Uppy went for the right. Yeah, Uppy went for the right rough. I'm like,
under a tree, and I hit it so good, and it landed 4 feet short, like 4 feet in the water short. I was actually telling him to get down.
I was just wondering where you're trying to land it because it was a dinner plate. There was water front.
Oh, that's right. It's a dinner plate. There's water front and around it. And yeah, I mean, honestly, if I hit a real good drive there, it's maybe a go zone. But man, it's just such a small target when you're coming in. And I don't know. I don't hit the ball high enough to really land it soft, unfortunately.
Well, what a great, but when you say U.S. Amateur, what a great hole down the stretch to be playing match play on, right? That's like do or die. Like the whole shot, your whole shot. You get left trouble off the tee. If you go, anyway.
Yeah, no, it was a great tournament, and you guys are both sticks. But what I liked about that tournament is you would see some of these kids, Johnny, hit unbelievable shots, and then you'd see them, fuck it up like I would. But like it was just either birdies or they were go for it to make bogeys. Like I loved watching that tournament this year.
I mean, for the course and being as old as it is, I mean, you've got the big trees out there. It's not overly long by any means, but it is. I mean, it penalizes you when they've got those greens running and those targets that they put, some of those pins in are so small. And if you're in the wrong part of the green or above the hole, it can be so penalizing. It's a fun course, and especially in those conditions and watching, some of those players in the way that they hit the ball and, move it around a course like that.
I knew I was in trouble that day when I took my breakfast bowl off one. I couldn't find either one of them, my first one or my second one. I'm like, hey, does anyone see where that second one went? Hey, the caddy. I'm like, fella, it's got to be here somewhere. It's got to be here somewhere.
One the easiest to on the court.
I know. I made six. I was in one. But
Quince was just ready to just chomping at the bit at that point, right?
Quince was hungover is not the word, but he did one of his hikes with Car Bomb that they really get.
I gotcha.
They really get to see nature.
Yeah, you don't have to say anymore.
I don't know what they saw up there, but Quince looked like me after a 3-3 back in the jungle. He was just like exhausted.
They were out scouting for some fun.
That.
Yeah,
he did say something about how exhausted he was when he met up with you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, so I just wanted to ask before we jump into this epic event we're going to have in Aspen in a couple weeks. I wanted to ask you, so it's changing of the seasons for you in Vail. You live up in Vail, beautiful place. You said you're golfing today and they're closing the course right away. What's like your routine in between seasons right now up in Vail? Like I know skiing and I know summer events, but what's this like fall kind of, and I actually had surgery up there in November before.
Yeah.
It was kind of dead. But what's it like? You playing hockey up there? Are you getting ready for this game or what's the schedule like?
We've got ice up here. I run a skate every Tuesday night with a bunch of guys. We got a great group. You puck, throw sticks, puck drop at 9:30, and beer still 1 or 1:30, and kind of go from there. But it's a good group, and at this point during the year, I mean, Vail opened on Friday last week. There's only a couple of runs open, but now people are starting to trickle in, and you'll see after Thanksgiving it'll get busier. Honestly, I'm trying to ride my bike as long as I can. Trying to mountain bike, trying to golf. Our course closed a few weeks ago, but they leave the holes in the greens. And so we've got guys that live on the course with carts, and we'll go out there on their carts and play, 9, depending on if we still got light, maybe 18. But it's kind of nice. You almost get like the valley back to the people that live here. It's not crazy. You can walk into a restaurant without making a reservation, 3-4 weeks ahead of time. So it is a nice little reset, and then you know what's coming, and you know that people are going to be jamming the hotels and the mountain here in a few weeks. But that's awesome. Just a fun time, and trying to get down to Denver too, because the weather's a little different down there. You got 15-20 degrees warmer, not no snow or anything down there. And try and play golf, try and go down and see the Avs if I can in person, if I'm not doing Wine Cave. And yeah, that's kind of the routine right now.
Wine Cave is one of my favorite segments in all of NHL. We'll get into the Wine Cave, but so we talk about obviously we all played a long time, and I started swimming, Johnny, when I retired. It changed it's changed my life since I hung him up. How's your body? And you said you like to get out on your bike. What other stuff you doing to stay fit and take care of a banged up hockey old defenseman? I guess I'm asking.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm 40, almost 43, going on like 63 now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had, multiple surgeries and a lot of cracks and, pain when you get out of bed every morning. But for me, it's, I try and, in the winter, especially, like I try and skate ski. I try and Nordic ski a couple times a week, try and skin up. Yeah, I know you've done that a bunch in Aspen. Like that's a killer workout. And like I've got a buddy up the street that was on ski patrol for 15, 18 years. And him and I go usually at 5 a.m. before any, we're in the dark with headlamps, ski down, as the sun's coming up. And it's honestly like I've never had a bad day after one of those mornings.
Can you just describe that to just quickly what skinning is? Our listeners have probably no fucking idea.
Yeah, so skinning is your heel's loose and you've got a faux animal skin on the bottom of your skis, and you're basically hiking up the mountain in your skis and your boots, and 15 minutes into it, you're pouring sweat out, and it's negative 10 degrees outside, and it's 5:15 in the morning, dark outside. You got a headlamp, and you're just going from the bottom to the top. You get to the top, you pull the skins, you lock your heel in, and you ski down, and you put on some layers because you're sweating, but you get those layers on, and honestly, like sun's coming up, and there's not a better feeling in the world than skiing down, especially if there's some overnight powder. It's a pretty amazing experience. I was lucky enough to get linked up with some guys here that do it pretty regularly, and it is one of the best workouts going.
Could you imagine that?
No, fuck no, no chance, no chance, no chance.
You're like, I say hi to me on my way out of the club.
Cross-country skiing. Like, whoa, man. Like, that's the one event in the Olympics. I'm like, how'd you start this? Like, cross-country skiing. Like, just didn't have any other talent or what? Like, cross-country skiing's got to be one of the hardest things in the world.
It's so miserable.
So they're going straight up, like, picture just Ajax, the flat part of it, where everyone comes down. They're just going straight up it with a headlamp on, just talking to the wolves. And
I've come down. I've come down out of Cloud 9 on Highlands with a light on my foot, but I've never gone up. I've come down. Woo, that's a lot of fun.
No, hey, you weren't feeling anything at that point, right? Like,
bring it on.
Just send it.
Hey, Johnny, the mountain. Like, we live out here in California. When we first move out here, you realize how intimidating the ocean can be for real, right? Like, you need to respect the ocean. Like, you're a mountain man. My boy here, he's a part timer up there, and sometimes he does these mountain. Like, he needs to be a little careful, right? The mountain can bite back, right, Johnny?
The mountain can absolutely bite back. It's the same thing as the ocean. The minute you don't respect it, it jumps up and it bites you. Or the minute you aren't paying attention, that's when it gets you. It's interesting. I mean, my 8-year-old skis way better than I do, and I always tell her, like, hey, you gotta head on a swivel. You gotta always be paying attention. But it's amazing, just I mean, how cool it is to be able to have access to that 5 minutes down the road from our house.
Just like the D zone, hey, Johnny, head on the swivel, stay active. Hey, never know who's coming. Protect the back post, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, John,
we got to head on a swivel for sure.
I felt the loneliness and the mountain take over. So this is years ago, and we're skiing, and I'm keeping up with Andy Mack and Jay Liddell, and they say, let's go do one more back run. And I'm like, I'm pretty fatigued. So long story short, I go do the back run. I hit this little fucking stump. My ski goes down there. I'm into powder up to here. My cell phone's about to die. It's getting dark, and I'm like, this is not how it's going to end here, right? Not here. And sure enough, my boy Lupo comes flying by on his snowboard, and I'm just like, Lobes, and he basically saved me. But I Johnny, I felt the fear, and I felt the mountain. I'm like, it's gonna be a cold night out here.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's true. Hey, you're in the majority on that. Like, everybody has that every now and again. And I mean, listen, it's there unfortunately there's people that don't make it off the mountain every year, and you gotta have respect for it. You gotta understand that, like, you're in the elements, and it's unforgiving. Even if you are on the resort, one wrong turn, you could be in something that is way, like, for me, way over my head. And it is, but it's cool. Like, you respect it and you try and enjoy it as best you can. But man, I'm with you. I've been in those situations, and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? Right.
It was the same feeling I had the first time I got on the ice with Ovechkin. I'm like, what am I doing out here? Why am I out here? Why am I out here?
Are you, so you said mountain biking. Do you got a, do you have okay. No, I got a S-Works, and I have a Santa Cruz Heckler. So 2 electric, like, pedal assist. Yeah. Do you have those, or are you still old school and you got the light mountain bike? Is that what you're using?
I got the light mountain bike. I got
your crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, like, for me, it's about the uphill and just getting a workout in, and I'm pretty tame on the downhill. You get up on Vail Mountain and you see some of those. I mean, it's the same thing in Whistler or any of these ski resorts in the summer, like the jumps that these guys do, and they're in like full padding. Like, that's not for me. Right.
No,
like,
you don't have time for that.
I'm about, I just want the sweat on the way up. I want to cruise on the way down and not be, not be shitting my pants on the way down on any jumps.
Yeah, they do that at Snowmass. They have the full course all over the mountain. And these dudes are, they're hitting gainers. They're doing it's gnarly, but you're right. Shoulder pads, like dirt bike helmets. They're like a gainer. You go and you basically kick your feet up this way. So you're doing like that. It's nuts. You ever try that? I've tried it into like the ocean from a yacht. I think land on my
I've seen that call. Yeah, I saw you do that.
Yeah, that not on a bicycle. No chance. Done a lot of dumb things in my day. But no, I like the electric bikes. For example, so you talk about sweating. You just get to get more distance. You get to go further.
For sure.
But in that case, on a mountain, you're going up further, and then you got to come down further. So, but in a way, you're still sweating. It's just gives you a little more speed, a little more control. And say you get a call. I always say, what if someone calls you and says, like, something's wrong, or we need you down here, or hey, last call's happening, get down to the bar, boys. You're more important. Yeah, man. More important.
Then you go real fast.
That's when you crank it up and you just fly down. You meet the boys for a pint.
Listen,
That makes sense.
I get the electric bike. I got 2 beach cruisers out here, Johnny. If you're ever out here and you just want to cruise the beach, why? Just big fat boy tires. You just cruise, buddy. I'm a
Last time I was out there, I texted Uffy, and you guys were. He was in Spain. He said,
Oh, you never know where the up dog's going to be, buddy. You know, he could be at school, or he could be in Europe, or you never know where the up dog is going to be. Yeah. So, Johnny, let's talk a little hockey here. Obviously, the Colorado alumni, you guys are the Avs alumni. Sorry, you guys are doing great things. We got a big game coming up here in Aspen with our boy Sheldon. Just how excited are you about it? This is going to come out the Friday of the event, so it's perfect timing for us. We're excited to get up there, but pretty cool event we're going to have.
No, it's going to be an amazing event. We got a good group of guys. Milan Hayduk, obviously Sheldon and Quince. You guys have roped in, obviously you too, but it sounds like Hank's coming and Biz, and there's quite a few pretty big names that are going to be attending this, and I think it's just going to be great. It all goes to help raise funds for youth hockey, which is the big one. Our alumni association does a number of these events around Colorado, whether it's Vail, Aspen, Telluride, Brack. Like, we've got some really cool events that our guys fly in for and just have a blast. And like I said, it's all for a great cause. It's going to be a really, really cool event. No better place than Aspen, and just a really cool game. I'm hoping I'm not going to glass it out it too much. But altitude, like, the legs go way quicker at altitude.
Oh, buddy, I can't even. I when I showed up to fucking Colorado for training camp, I put in one of my best summers ever. I'm like, I'm ready to go. First skate, I go up to you bring up Milan Hayduk. I go, Hedgie, I'm dying out here. Does it get any easier? He's like, not really. I'm like, this guy's played here for 20 years. He can't even breathe. I'm in one.
That guy can still skate. He's not flying around. Wow. But it is so impressive watching him. And you and I, we were all texting. We had that alumni skate last week. That was the first one I'd been to in a while. We play over 40 versus under 40, and over 40s had lost like 10 straight games. And I came down, and I knew Forsberg was in town, so I texted him. I was like, hey, you want to skate in our alumni skate? He's like, oh, I'm playing in Toronto. So I got my gear. I just need a stick. And I'm like, perfect. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. I was like, hey, Pete's skating. Joe's like, I haven't put my gear on in like 3 years, but I'll come out. He joins too. And all of a sudden we got a pretty good over 40 team. And man, I'm telling you, you can put Hayduk on the Avs right now. I guarantee you he'd score 20. Like, his hands are
playing with McKinnon and Rand. Playing with McKinnon and Rand, and I might be able to get 20. I mean, if I keep up,
go to the back door, right? Go to the back door. But it's unbelievable watching these guys still. Like Pete, he doesn't move well at all just because of his leg, but his hands, like, it's ridiculous how good they still are.
If you're Forsberg, don't you just go to Dick's Sporting Goods if you need a twig? Aren't they still selling Forsberg? Don't you just chime in there? I'll take that Forsberg right off the shelf there. A little harder to get an upshell stick nowadays, but a Forsberg one you could probably get.
Hey, Johnny, what's worked the best for getting like alumni to show up to these events? Like, is it the destinations? Is it the events you put around them? Like what you guys did great for the wives and for the event was like. Yeah. You had the Caribou Club all lined up, right? And your first class.
That's NHL.
First class experience in Aspen for the family.
We got that lined up again. I couldn't get in the Caribou Club last time I went. Can you get me?
Well, I was the guy.
We had in the back room there. It costed too much money from the alumni account, but I think it's pretty equal when you talk about the destinations. We got Vail in September, we got Aspen in December. We do Telluride in February, which is sick. And then we do Breckenridge, late March, early April. But the other thing too is just the guys getting together. Everybody that comes, I get texts, hey, like, I didn't realize how much I needed that, or how much I missed that, and how good it was to be around the guys. And a lot of us, that's some of the only interaction we get with a lot of the guys that we went to battle with for a long time. And you guys know, the biggest thing that you miss when you leave the game is the locker room and being around the guys on a daily basis. And so even to provide that for 3 or 4 times a year in a cool place where we can ski, or families get together and ski or hang out in the pool, like, it makes a big difference. And we've gotten really good feedback. and guys that, are willing to, fly in on their own dime to be a part of these events.
Yeah, it's the last time I skated, and it was the only other,
This fucking guy.
it's the only other alumni event I've ever been to was you guys in the Flyers. But I was like, fuck, if my old teams were doing this, I'd come play, 5 times a winter. Just I would.
I thought you were
up for that. King. I know.
I'll tell you right now, Johnny. I'll tell you right now, he's not getting 5 this time. I'll take a 10 gamer before he gets 5. Mark my words.
Hey, Johnny, don't let Obi fucking try.
I'll take a 5 gamer on him before he gets 5. If he gets more than 2,
I don't know if you want him as your D partner either.
On D, that's a shutdown pair right there.
And you teed me up for my question. We've been talking about it. I'm excited to see the boys. I'll be honest, I'm not excited to get on the ice, but I'm just curious. Is it Avs versus NHL? What is that? Is that what it's going to be? Because if so, you guys got a lot of chemistry. You guys been skating, bonding there. Like I'm big on locker room advantage to the Avs.
It sounds like it's going to be Avs versus the NHL. Originally Quince was saying, "Hey, we gotta watch how many guys that are coming in." I'm like, Quince, we got to have at least 2 full lines. We can't have 7 guys showing up on the Avs side and like dying while in the middle of the game. So I think that's what it is. We're working that through. I think Quince and Sheldon have that more dialed in than I do. But it does sound like maybe NHL and versus Avs. We're working on a goalie. It sounds like Ben Scrivens might be the guy for the Avs.
I
don't know. Hank
I
versus Ben Scrivens might be a little bit of a mismatch.
That's a mismatch in career earnings for sure. That's a mismatch in career earnings.
And here,
I thought I saw Peter Budaj on there for Avs. We got Peter Budaj, former St. Mike's Major kicking. I like that. I like him. I'll play in front of him, no problem.
So Boots played for our team in Vail against the local team here, and we went to a 10-round shootout to get the win in that one, and Boots was stood on his head. It sounds like he might have a conflict. We're still working through schedules. Sakic said he's up in the air and he's got Board of Governors that week, but he said he may try and head up after he gets back from Board of Governors. So there's a little bit of I guess interesting dynamic for how our lineup's going to play out. But we're keeping the NHL team on their toes.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to have to reach out to Raycroft here after the show here, see what Razor's doing. Maybe get him on a bird out here. Hey,
Razor.
Razor's a beauty. Yeah, listen,
wouldn't he?
I love that guy.
Yeah, Razor's the man.
He's the guy. Yeah.
If you think you're getting 5 against the Avs alumni, you got another thing coming. Who's repping?
I have not skated since. I have not skated since.
I'll take 5
that one
liners
went
on him.
so fucking top shelf, Obi. This one shot.
I saw the highlights. Everyone saw the highlights. I don't know, how do you even play for the Avs? Why is he even out there? Jesus.
Hey, Johnny, I want to ask you a little bit about minor hockey in the Valley. The Colorado Extreme, obviously, so Sheldon's done some incredible stuff with his kids in Colorado and the kids up Valley. So we're excited to come in and support that. Talk a little bit about, your kids and the minor hockey system throughout Vail, throughout Denver. Is it pretty, are these kids going at it? Like, is it good skill? A lot of tournaments? Like, what's the minor hockey like up there?
Well, I mean, what I'll say is from when I first came to Denver in 2003 to now, I mean, the hockey landscape has exploded. The number of organizations, the amount of kids playing hockey, and part of that's early 2000s Avs. When you look at the Sakics and Forsbergs and Ray Borks and guys like that played on that team, but also kind of the resurgence the last few years, I would say, and the how good they've gotten again, McCarr, McKinnon, Rantanen, guys like that, and we're seeing it in Vail with our numbers. We don't have enough ice to sustain the amount of kids that want to play hockey. We're in a valley of 40,000 people, and we've got 200 plus kids that want to play hockey any given year. 4 squirt teams, 5 peewee teams. So it's tough because we have a finite amount of ice. We're working on trying to get figure out a way to do a third sheet here in Vail, but what I see it firsthand, I'm on the board of directors for Vail, and it's just cool to see and see all these kids get into it. Because when you hear Vail or Aspen, you think automatically skiing, right? But there's so many kids that not only grew up skiing, they love playing hockey. And at some point, you have this fork in the road where it's not really feasible to be able to ski competitively and play hockey competitively. And so a lot of kids are choosing hockey, and it's super cool to see. And what Sheldon's doing with the Extreme, being able to provide hockey for free to so many kids. And I know one of the big focuses is the Latino community and being able to get them involved in hockey, which is maybe an underserved demographic, and it's pretty cool to see. And so to see that, albeit in Vail, I'm an hour and a half away from where Sheldon is in Aspen. You still hear about it, and it is like any way that you can grow the game and make it accessible for people, like more power to you. You just got to tip your cap, and it's going to be a cool event to see. Not only I think people showing up from Aspen or Glenwood or these different places, but all the kids that are hopefully going to be involved.
Yeah, Johnny, and you mentioned obviously Sakic and Forsberg, the Patty and the glory days there, Footer, and then the new elm they have. But I noticed, I watch a lot of Av games. First, the fans are some of the best in the league. But I do notice a lot of kids at the game. When they pan to the crowd, you do notice a lot of kids. So the Avs are had a big impact on minor hockey around there.
Yeah, they have. And they do a great job of making sure that those kids are getting to the games, whether it's, through the youth programs, getting tickets through those. My daughter does U8 hockey here in Vail, and she's skating at an Avs game in December before the game and in the first intermission, and they give discounted tickets to the whole organization at that age group. So it'll be super cool to see her on the ice at Ball Arena and, jump out there probably pregame with her. And Avs, they do a great job. And part of, for me, like I do a lot of YK, but I also like getting down and being there in person at Ball Arena on set with Keefe and Riker and those guys, because you get to interact with the fans and you're there and you're seeing them face to face and, talking to the kids and talking to these people that have had season tickets since 95, 96 when they first came to Colorado. So they do an amazing job. The fans are a huge part of the Avs' success and what makes Ball Arena so tough to play in as a visitor.
Yeah, it's tough to come in there. When I played there, it wasn't so tough to come into. It's kind of pointing it, but now it's coming in there is no joke. But I got another little house cleaning thing about the alumni game here. Shoulder pads. What's the ruling on guys wearing shoulder pads? Because my buddy beside me here likes to put them on. Listen, he likes to put them on. He likes to put the mouth guard in and really...
Is this guy nuts?
Like,
I haven't skated in 2 years, and he thinks he knows everything about
this, buddy. Keep him on.
This is sounding like a scared guy that's going to get beat wide. This is sounding a little scared.
There's 100% chance I'm getting beat wide by you and everybody else, but I want to make sure when I cross-check you in the arm that there's no padding.
I'll wear this the
shoulder pads,
tricep protector.
I actually skated with the local team here, the Vail Yeti, a few weeks ago. And the owner texted me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to jump on the ice with us?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah, it sounds good." And I'm like, "Man, I wonder if I should wear shoulder pads. Like, if this is a full practice." It ended up being their preseason inter squad game. I had to dig my shoulder pads out of my locker that I hadn't even put them on in 5 years probably. Thank God I did, because it was like there's hitting happening. I'm like, yeah, I don't like this at all.
Yeah,
I don't like the hitting.
Yeah,
I mean, in our alumni game, I will say if you take Olds wide, watch out, because Quince will lay the body without shoulder pads.
Oh, I'm just gonna give it to.
I've already been texting Q on the side here.
I'm giving it to Shorzy. Yeah, I told him. I outmuscled him on the overtime goal. Actually,
is Shorzy going to be on his team? Shorzy didn't play for the Avs, did he?
Shorzy played for the Avs.
Yeah, but he played for DU, so he plays Avs and stuff. We'll look at numbers and see. I mean, listen, Shorzy's MO is 10 points and a loss every time.
Yeah, I know. I play with him.
Yeah, in Brack, he's like, oh, I had 10 points. I'm like, yeah, you lost 11-10.
Yeah. I had my guy though. Hey, Shorzy, I had my guy.
Yeah, it is his guy.
I played with Shorzy. I go back down the jungle. I've been in the show 10 years. Go back down to San Antonio. It sucked. But this guy made it more miserable. Every day he was just and then as I got to know him and I love Shorzy, and I just said he's asking for a trade, and I'm like, I go, fella, I just got to be honest with you. There's another guy on every other American League team like you that deserves to be in the NHL that's stuck here. You don't want to get traded somewhere shitty. That's my advice. Kept asking for a trade. They traded him to Adirondack, New York, and we go to play him. I'm like, how's this place treating me? He's like, should have kept my mouth shut.
Listen to the veterans, Shorzy.
Yeah, exactly.
I go, San Antonio, listen, I played at some bad places in this American League. This San Antonio is not awful. I mean, it's sunny here. But he's a beauty.
He's a beauty. I love that guy.
Johnny, I couldn't ask you about the Avs without talking about our boy Kyle Keefe. He's at the Hall of Fame I seen. I love watching his telecast with you guys at altitude. How's Keefe doing? He takes the win. He loves the wins, but he takes the losses tough.
Nobody has higher highs and lower lows than Kiefer. That guy is on cloud nine every win, and he is so depressed every time they lose, and he's like inconsolable. And you'd think that like the Avs are, the cellar dweller every time they lose a game. But I mean, the guy just bleeds, burgundy and blue. I love him to death. He's one of my best buddies. Like now we've got, Riker now has moved up to color because, unfortunately Peter McNabb passed away last year. And now we've got, Kenny Cleese doing some analysis. Jan Stasny's been doing some analysis. Johnny Mitchell stepped in, and every one of those guys, the first thing they say is Keefe makes it so easy. Like he's so good at what he does. He's self-deprecating. He's funny. There's almost never like a just dead air because he's so in tune with everything. And even if you lose your train of thought, he just picks right up, and it doesn't seem like that like you're embarrassed. And I've worked with him now for 6 years, and man, he's just the ultimate pro, and he's not afraid to laugh. Like you guys have seen the Sharks clip, like. That guy, if there's something funny, like he's tears coming down, and he's out for the rest of the segment, and it is the best TV that you'll see.
Yeah, and he's such a pro, and like that's what I respect him most. How professionally as prepared he is, and at the same time how he can be himself, and that's just reps and getting better. And listen, NHL and TNT, I got nothing against Liam McHugh. I think he's a pro, does a good job. But every time I watch it, I'm just like, imagine Kyle Keefe was running this panel right now, like. I mean, not that he wants to leave altitude. He loves Denver. He bleeds the burgundy and white. But he could run that panel, no problem.
Yeah. Personality does. Likes to tee it up, too.
Loves to tee it up.
Good backyard there. He's got a good backyard. Nice backyard there and down.
Great backyard. Loves to tee it up. Loves golf. He came up to Vail, and he was on his own. And, man, that guy is – if he's on his own, it is pedal down. He is like, I'm like, hey,
I know somebody else like that.
Our game. Yeah. He announced our game for the charity event, and the director of our organization was like, we might have to limit Keefer's alcohol consumption next year. Like he was hilarious, but man, like just every time anybody like Riker touched the puck, and he is full blast on the microphone. Hayduk touches the puck, full blast on the microphone, and you're like, Keefe, you got to reel it in, man. Like this is a charity event. Like get it together, dude.
Yeah, he's a beauty. Johnny, I want to get your opinion on two guys I've talked to a lot about this season. And last year, I think you probably know this as well, against the Kraken, like the lack of depth up front was noticeable. Like besides the big boys, they really had nothing else going. They bring in Miles Wood and Ross Colton, two guys that have made huge impacts that I absolutely love. As an ex-Av and a guy that follows the team closely, what are your thoughts on these two boys?
Well, I mean, those guys, they revamped the third line, right? You lose JT Compher free agency, which was to be expected. He was going to get a payday. And so the Avs had to kind of retool. And you talked about it. Like their depth wasn't there last year. They relied heavily on McKinnon and Rantanen. And, the second line wasn't quite there. But now you picked up Ryan Johansson as a second line center. He's still getting, I think, comfortable, but he's winning a ton of faceoffs, especially on the power play. Big body. And I look at, I kind of circle it, every game, like who I kind of think are the impact guys. Johansson, Nichushkin, Colton, like those guys to me, if they get going, this Avs team's really going to be tough to stop. And I look at Colton like playing that third line center position on the second power play. He's playing some penalty kill. Like he's better, I think, than a lot of people realize. And Jeff Halpern's one of the assistant coaches in Tampa and a good buddy of mine. I texted him when they traded for him, and I was like, Halpy, what do you expect or what do you think? And he's like, he's a great kid. He just wants to get better. He's going to contribute. He can play in all areas. And I mean, thus far, like, he's I think 4 goals and an assist so far this year, but some big goals, and like plays a physical game. Really, really solid. I mean, he had the mistake the other night against Seattle, which was unfortunate, like at home at the end of the game, but he was the first guy to admit it. And I mean, like, it's an 82-game season, right? Things like that are going to happen. And I just love what they did with the third line. Like, I hated playing against Miles Wood because you knew that he was just straight line. He was going to run you through the boards. And if he did run you through the boards, if you got out of the way, he was going to hit the boards hard. And you knew that he was coming again the next shift, right? So he's a guy that's tough to play against. So that third line, to me, makes a huge difference. And then, it's unfortunate Lehkonen getting hurt the way that he did. Like that was scary.
That was bad.
But like if they're healthy, and you get a Gabe Landeskog back, hopefully end of the season, maybe playoffs, depending on where he's at. Like that team, top 3 lines, and you plug and play fourth line. You got Cogliano, you got, Logan O'Connor's played up and down third line, fourth line. Like they're way deeper than they were last year, and they look more like the team that won the cup a couple years ago.
Yeah, every time I watch him play, I just wish 92 was out there. I'm like, imagine they had 92. Like, I mean, he's
a game changer. He's a game changer. He's a guy. I mean, like he's the captain, yes, but like in the room, right? Like he's the guy, and like nothing against Nate, but he's the guy that can kind of give Nate like hey, here's what you need to be doing, or like Mikko, here's what you need to be doing. He's the guy that everybody listens to, and they miss him a ton, and you just hope that everything's going well. Like Keeper's texted with him, I've texted with him. It seems like things are going well, but obviously until he's back on the ice and trying to play, at full speed, there's a lot that remains to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I don't like about Miles Wood is he puts his laces around his ankles. Do you notice that?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm like, fella.
We got to talk to Frosty about
Put
that.
some
How did
tape
Frosty let
around
him do
there.
that?
I don't know, because I love his game, but I get a close up. The tongues aren't perfect.
Oh,
And
man.
the laces around.
I didn't notice that.
Johnny, have a peek. I love his game. I used to cam him, but
yeah, I'm not going to be able to look away. It's
I know.
car wreck that you can't turn away from, right?
Hey, Johnny, we talked about this before we jumped on air, but you said you were at the game the other night with the kids in what turned out to be a blowout, with St. Louis coming to town.
Yeah.
We seen it the week before in Vegas, Saturday night, huge game.
Yeah.
Has this team ever been, blown out in 2 games in the matter of 5 that you know about? And what's going on when that happens? This team's too good to have that happen. Does it just fall apart quickly, or what do you see unfold? You can't have that happen.
No, you can't have that happen. And I think that, last night after the second goal was called back, I think they really kind of, they dialed it in. And against New Jersey last week, they played a really solid game, I would say, top to bottom. And, for them, it's when they, when they feel like, and this is just my observation, when it feels like goals are harder to come by, and all of a sudden you're down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, whatever, the Avs tend to want to fly the zone, right? And when goals get harder to come by, you're trying to make it easier, but you fly the zone, or you're trying to make an easier play, or make it get on the offense quicker. It almost makes it tougher for those goals, right, to come by. And so Riker and I talked about this yesterday before the game, because he was looking, him and I were talking about just the points for him on the air, and it was more like, okay, you got to play below the guy, and it's arguably harder, but it makes the game easier, because when you play below the guy, you're getting the puck in the right position. God forbid the puck bounces over your stick or whatever, you're still in a good position defensively. And the Avs are too explosive and too quick, too skilled to, when they get the puck in those right positions, they're still going to make things happen, right? But it can't just be fly the zone, rely on the D to get the puck to. Yeah, you got Cale Makar back there and Bo Byram and guys that can make those plays, but you don't make those plays 10 out of 10 times, unfortunately, when guys are flying the zone. And so for me, it's getting back to those basics. And I think if you ask Jared Bednar, he'd probably say something similar is, they're playing below the puck last night. They're playing the right way. Like, you don't have to crush guys, but like Val Nichushkin's 6'4", 220 pounds. Even if he rubs a guy out, along the boards at 50%, it's still going to make the guy take notice. And so it's the physicality. It can't just be your third line being physical. The Coltons and the Woods and O'Connors. It's got to be top to bottom. And so for me, it's kind of getting back to basics of playing that defensive side first, and then relying on skill and speed to generate offensive chances.
Low and slow, Johnny? Low and slow out there, buddy. Hey, I just need you in the middle of the ice there.
That's his best friend.
I say it because I was an offensive defenseman some of the time, but yeah.
Hey, Johnny, speaking of defense, I want to get your opinion on this, because you were a hell of a defenseman. And when I watch the Avalanche play, and this is no knock to Sam Girard, he's a great little crafty left-handed defenseman, walks the blue line great. But when I look at their team, and this is maybe if Landy does come back, and who knows what's going to happen with him, but could they use another right-handed defenseman to maybe play with Bo Byram, or obviously they got Manson with Jack Johnson. But to me,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just think if they want to win another Stanley Cup, to me, I would love a top 4 right-handed defenseman to play on that second pair.
Well, I think it's, I think it's entirely possible, given where they are at the end of the season or trade deadline, that they go out and look for another right-handed defenseman. When Josh Manson came over from Anaheim, it was Byron Manson. That was the pairing, and they were really, really good together. Manson's had some injuries since then, had surgery in the off season, and so I think like he didn't play last night, neither did Gerard. But I think they're still working to get him back up to speed, to that that Stanley Cup champion speed where he was unbelievable those playoffs. I mean, he was hitting, he was scoring, like making the right plays, and I think that the injuries kind of hurt him a lot last year. He tried to play through it. He took some extended time off, came back. It wasn't good, and then they ended up shutting him down, and he had surgery. So, for me, it's I could see that happening. I mean, we talked about that Stanley Cup year. They talked about a right-handed defenseman. They needed another right-handed defenseman. They ended up going out and getting Josh Manson, which was a great pickup. So yeah, I mean, I think it remains to be seen. You saw Sam Malinsky play last night. He got called up. He's a young right-handed defenseman. He's similar to a Sam Girard, maybe not quite as offensive at this point. But, a guy on an entry-level deal that they signed as a free agent out of college. He's 25 years old. He's played well in the AHL, even Caleb Jones, too.
Yeah, I thought he played well last night.
He played well also. And so, Sam Girard, I'm not saying that they need to trade him, but he's $5 million against the cap. So if there is something that they're looking to do, guys like that, it's just, that's how it is. They're playing 3D on their second power play right now. And you have Girard, Taves, and Byram. Like it's hard because you want those guys to get power play minutes and get their cookies and feel good. And, the first power play is a minute 55 of 2 minutes, but it's I mean, how often have we ever seen 3D on the second power play, right?
I gotta be honest,
something you see very often.
As an ex-defenseman that didn't get any power play time, I love it. When they run 3D out there, I say, suck it, boys.
Are you
move
nuts?
over?
The forwards, you guys just turned the puck
baby.
over.
Oh, we're responsible.
No offensive ability. Whatever. Shoot it in the shoot pad.
Drew and Cole are the two forwards on that second power play unit with them. They're just, they're just sitting there going, what the hell are these guys doing back there? Like, give me another forward. Just turning it over everywhere. And the D are saying the same thing to the forwards. Like, just every day in the locker room.
Yeah, it's great. Especially when you're a PK guy. Like, get the power play going, boys. Come on here. Jeez, how many breakouts do you need here? But Johnny, let's talk. You went to Ireland the week after we went over for our 40th. We had an unbelievable time. We didn't play Ballybunion. You played Ballybunion, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That was the second time I played Ballybunion. I went 10 years ago on the Horkoff Cleary trip, and then this year was with Joe and Timu, and we had 8 guys, and we played Ballybunion. That place is my second time around. I enjoyed it a lot more, and I don't know if it was weather, but it's such a cool course, and just it's a great track, and I mean, you guys know that place is unreal. Obes, I saw your hole-in-one, like. What a 40th birthday.
I know, it was unbelievable. And I was just slashing it, eh, Johnny? I was like 8 over coming to, what hole was it, 7, I think?
Yeah.
And I nipped one finally. I finally squared one up. And the Irish gods, they brought it over for me. But no, I still think about this day, having my 2 best buddies there, and on our 40th, it was special. But Ireland in general, it's a special place. Obviously, I got some Irish back, but I mean, I'm going to try to go back as much as I can. But for people that haven't been there, Johnny, it's a special place, huh?
It's so cool. I mean, we you're playing golf every day, but it's like golf it almost becomes secondary. Like, I love golf as much as anybody, but it's like you're looking around, and most of the time you're playing a course on the ocean. I think we played one inland course, and you're on the ocean, like you're having Guinness. Like, there's not a better place to have Guinness in the world. Like, Guinness over here doesn't taste like Guinness over there. And so you're sitting there having a pint afterward. Like, that to me, sitting around just trading stories with the boys, like getting a hole-in-one, on your 40th trip. Like, that's what it's all about, right? Like, they call it the crack. Like, you're sitting in the pub and just you're shooting the shit with the boys. Like, like that. The whole week was just such an amazing time, and we had a great group of 8 guys from all different places. We had Timu and a Finnish buddy of his. We had a few guys from California that play at Timu's club. One guy was web.com tour player, like mashed the ball. He's like 5'8", 135 pounds, and just mashed the ball. And then, Joe and I and one other Cherry Hills guy. And so man, I would go back in a heartbeat. It's such a cool spot, and like I don't know, man, just golf and Guinness and hanging out with the fellas. Like
shots at Jameson, it was unbelievable. Well, let's go. We get 2 groups together. We'll get a group. You guys get a group. We'll get our boy Billy Quinn, and we'll do it. It was
no shoulder pads.
No shoulder pads for the up dog. Hey, Johnny, last but not least here, we appreciate you taking the time. We know you're busy. First of all, love the Hockey Night in Canada towel with top cheese there. I got one in the studio. The Updog loves a good Hockey Night in Canada. Listen, if this guy's ever in Vail, don't leave that wine fridge unlocked. Don't leave that unlocked.
I'm coming.
What do you got?
Oh, yeah. I just loaded up, Johnny. Yeah.
I love it.
I just loaded up.
This thing it's getting locked if you're ever in Vail.
So what's it called? What's Mr. Poe? He's a what wine?
He's our sommelier.
Sommelier. He sees Updog and he comes right. Mr. Upshaw, how you doing? Here's the wine list, and Updog just starts dissecting it. He knows his wine. This guy, you know.
When the storm comes right to you and calls you Mr. Anything, like
yeah,
that gets real dangerous and real expensive real quick.
I know. I couldn't help myself. I think I bought 12 cases of wine at our little fall wine classic.
Cases?
I mean, cases. Yeah. Now I
go, does your wife drink wine? I go, does your wife drink wine? No, she doesn't drink wine.
The only problem is I'm all over the internet now trying to find another wine fridge because I need another. I need another basically 180 bottle wine fridge. I can't just leave them sitting around.
It's an expensive hobby.
I know it is.
He's not just looking for the little one to put in the corner. He's looking for 181 if anyone's got
If you wonder why the grid down here in California is shutting off here every other day, it's I got a lot of electricity coming through the house.
My wife had to put the kibosh on ordering, and I got like a few that I can order. Stan Kroenke put me on the Screaming Eagle list when the Avs won the Cup, and so that's one of the ones that I can order. But my wife was going through the cabinets in our basement the other day, and she found about 70 bottles hidden in one of the cabinets, and she's like, we've got a wine fridge upstairs. I've got this, and then I'm hiding them in the cabinets. Like, you gotta stop ordering walking. Like, this is too much.
I might have to. Geez, the Screaming
You
Eagle.
guys be dangerous together.
I might have to. I don't know. What's that process like? Are you allowed to talk about it on air? Like, will you buy cases of that, or like? Nice.
So I get so Sakic and I joked around.
Yeah.
Joe was the GM of the team. It took him 8 years to get on the list, and Stan owns Screaming Eagle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
wow.
Yeah, Kroenke owns Screaming Eagle. So at the parade for the Avs Cup win, I was sitting there and Game 6 when they won in Tampa, I had one bottle of Screaming Eagle. Quince's wife bought it for us as a housewarming present.
Awesome.
And so I was like, you know what? If they win, I'm opening this bottle. I don't care. So of course they win. I open the bottle. I drink it on air. And so Mr. Kroenke comes up to me at the parade. He's like, hey, great choice of that bottle on air.
Sweet.
And I was like, oh, thanks. I was like, that was my only one. And he goes, you're not on the list? I'm like, no. He goes, we're going to change that. So
that's it.
We're having a good time. Like, I'm like, okay, sure. Next morning, 8 a.m. on the dot, text message. Hey, what's your mailing address and your email? Congratulations, you're on the list. And I texted Joe right away. I was like, let's go. So Joe, every time we get the email alert and like the shipment notice, we get 6 bottles a year. We get 3 of the top one and then the 3 of the second flight. And we just text each other. Anytime he opens one, he sends me a picture of it. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And just the story itself, right? Like to get on the list that way, like, I mean, he's an unbelievable guy. And the fact that he even remembered the next day to send it to his guy to put me on the list was pretty special.
Details.
Do you have one behind you, or is it locked up somewhere? Yeah, let us.
I do.
Pull it off there. Let me see the label. Yeah, pull it off. Now he's gonna see the label, but maybe pop it open. I'll be there in 4 hours.
Geez, Uppy's a little tight. Yeah, Uppy's like, put that in the decanter. I'll be there in a bit.
So yeah, that's
oh yeah.
the 2020 right there.
Do you remember drinking that?
I was just gonna say at Mike Comrie's house, we drank about. Before I even knew what Screaming Eagle was, I'm like, after the next day, I'm like, that's pretty good wine. He's like, you know what those cost a bottle of those? I'm like, no. That's why I had no idea.
My brother was in town from Fort Mac. We're in Hollywood at MC, and my brother's just slinging it back. And I go, do you not have any idea how much one of those glasses are?
Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy that. Enjoy that juice.
Yeah, it's like getting into some of the bourbons too. Like, you know how much one of those glasses are? It gets a little expensive. Fortunately with the wine cave, I get to write everything off, so I'm happy about that.
See, smart. He's smart. Hey, see, that's a businessman right there. We're
You just got to put like a little wine segment on Missin Curfew.
yeah, totally.
That's business expense.
Yeah, we're learning how these write-offs work, Johnny. We're just starting to write everything off, fella. We're writing it all. In a couple years, we might be in the clink, but hey, we'll
all be getting letters from the IRS.
Oh, totally.
Hey, Johnny, you're the man, brother. We love what you do at Altitude TV. We can't wait to see you in Aspen, buddy. I don't know if we'll be drinking Screaming Eagle, but we'll be drinking something. Keep up the great work with the Avs alumni, man. It's such an important thing, and yeah, you guys are crushing it. We'll see you at that Altitude, buddy, and we'll go D&D a couple times and keep this guy to the outside, eh?
I love it. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Johnny.